Hello, welcome to another episode of Spiritual Warfare Stories. My name is Femi Akojeno. I use real life stories to teach you how to prevent, how to protect, and how to proceed out of any problem that you may be in right now. Prevent you from making avoidable mistakes and getting into avoidable problems. Prevent you and also protect you in your state of freedom right now, and in case you're already in bondage, to proceed. I'm teaching you how to proceed out of it. Today I want to share a story with you that has to do with a man. This man traveled from America to Africa just to eat bean cake. You may see a picture of the bean cake that I'm talking about behind me right now. It's called akara in the Nigerian language. Akara. So this man traveled to Africa just to eat akara. Now you may say, what is wrong with that? Well, everything is wrong with the story of this guy. First of all, he was here in America illegally. So he didn't have his papers. And the way that works is if you don't have your papers and you have overstayed your visit, then it's impossible for you to come back once you get out of here. And so he went knowing that, right? He booked a flight to Nigeria just to go and eat bean cake. Well, why did he do that, you may ask? Well, he did it because he didn't know what he was doing. He was actually under a spell. Yes, he was under a spell. And because he was under a spell, he booked this flight really not knowing what he was doing. He was under an influence. There was a power that was pushing him. And that power was basically saying, come and eat bean cake. You want to eat bean cake. Well, normally, if you have a taste or a desire or an appetite for bean cake, all you have to do is go to an African restaurant. And they have them all over the United States. You could have just gone to an African restaurant. He could have just gone to an African restaurant. But no, he didn't do that because he was under a spell. There was an influencing him, making him to take that step and to make a costly mistake. Well, guess what? After he booked a flight and he got inside the airplane and he was halfway into the flight back home, that was when he realized, his eyes opened. He realized that, wait, where was I or where am I? And he realized that, wow, he was in the plane on the way to Africa. Well, I want to tell you about the reality of these things. There is something called a spell. There is something called an unseen influence. You know, somebody just quit a job for no reason. Unseen influence. That influences them to quit that job so that they will not have money in their hands. How about people in a relationship? And I'm talking about a good relationship. And they just quit it like that. You say, I'm tired of this relationship. Is there anything wrong in a relationship? No. But I'm just tired. I think I want something new. Really? Just like that? With no problems in the relationship? Unseen influence. What about costly mistakes? Sometimes you see people, they'll just make a mistake that it just don't make sense. Even they themselves are asking themselves, why did I do that? Because that don't make sense. I would not do that. Even in my worst days, I would never do that. Why did I do that? Unseen influence. I want you to know that there is something called an unseen influence. A spell that is upon a person that makes them to do something that ordinarily they would not do. Makes them to make costly mistakes. You know, sometimes somebody around you may be under an influence. It could be somebody who's working some evil things on them, some root work that has been done that is now affecting them, making them make decisions that don't make any sense. And you know, if they are your spouse or if they are your children, you can shout all you want, you can scream all you want. They will not get it because they are under an unseen influence. So what you do is to pray for them. My advice to you is this. Anytime you see people around you making costly mistakes or doing things that you know that this is not them, this is not what they normally would do, then you may want to pray. You may want to pray for them that, God, if there is any unseen influence working on my child, working on my spouse, working on my boss, Lord, working on my pastor, working on anybody around you, that unseen influence be destroyed in the name of Jesus Christ. I'm talking about spells that may be working. It will cause a child who's been getting straight A's in school all of a sudden to just decide to quit school. I mean, they just say, Mommy, I want to quit school. Daddy, I want to quit school. Okay, but why? I just don't like school anymore. But you are the same person who has been getting straight A's in school, who used to be so excited about going to school. What happened to you? An unseen influence. You know, there is somebody who's working something, and that thing is controlling them. How about one lady who just wanted to jump, every time she would drive by the Verrazano Bridge, she just felt like she wanted to jump into it. There was an unseen influence that is manifesting in her life. It's not because she's suicidal. She's not suicidal at all. But it's a voice that kept saying, jump, 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 jump. Unseen influence. I want you to know that this thing is real. And so when you see yourself making decisions that don't make sense, bind that power of unseen influence. And when you see others around you making mistakes, costly mistakes, just doing things that ordinarily they wouldn't do, then you know there is a force behind it. Instead of screaming at them, why don't you pray for them and take authority over that force, over that unseen influence, and break that spell that may be upon them in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Again, what you should do, instead of screaming and all that stuff, you could talk all you want. If it is an unseen influence, the only thing to do is to pray and break the power of that unseen influence. And then they will come back to themselves. Well, this man I was telling you about, he landed in Africa, and his own blood sister said to him, I brought you back. Yes, I brought you back. In other words, it was his own sister who went and did some root work, or juju, like we call it in Africa, on him to make him to desire his own sister's bean cake. Not any other bean cake from an African restaurant, but his own sister's bean cake. And so, even though he couldn't do that, ordinarily, if he was thinking, he would not book a flight to go to Nigeria because he knows that he cannot come back. Well, but when you are under an unseen influence, you do crazy things like that until you realize when it's too late. He realized it when it was too late. I pray for you and your loved ones who may be under an unseen influence, that influence will break off them right now in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Don't forget that every Monday and Wednesday I do the spiritual warfare stories. I want to encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Life Zone, one word. Subscribe to that channel so that you can be notified every time I have videos like this posted. And of course, if you're watching on Facebook, please go ahead and like this page so that you too can know anytime I post new videos. Also visit my website, deliveranzone.com. deliveranzone.com. There are a number of things on that website that will be a blessing to you. Every Thursday night, I host a special deliverance service, 7 p.m., both on site and on social media as well as YouTube. Every Thursday night, go to my website, deliveranzone.com, and I invite you to join me for that special deliverance service. I want to thank you for watching this special episode of Spiritual Warfare Stories. Make sure you share with somebody else so that they too can be blessed. Thank you very much.